Kusile ngwana lomuhle lusukela kuqala enyangeni yendlovu lenkulu the 1st of March. What a blessing to wake up yet again. Sibe nawe kukusile breakfast show. Bito lami ngusifiso imali once ngihambe ngedwa nemlingani lungolele emagago la Thombeni.
Ndoni,
Ngizojabula kakhulu sabele kuqala wona impela so.
Always. You are doing about Fridays, very moody ashinja because singing your weekend mode. So yeah, good morning and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. It's a beautiful Friday morning, the 1st of March. It's a brand new month.
It's your birthday month, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Quite isanje bambulele emakhaya ukuthi sukula collectala likuyo yona le nyanga sebangaqala ke labo labakuthandzako balungise deep. But as we get excited for the weekend lungelele, I think the biggest one for bantu labanengi indzaba yetemidlalo siyathi ukuthi kwaba impela sono nje kusho kubuya kwema league games lamaningi. There will be some interesting games even locally. We'll start off today ku MTN Premier League with Illovo versus Rangers uma kugabanca insimbi yesithathu khona nje esukwini lomhlanje sihamba makazi kutawuthi kusasa umdlalo wesibili kutaba Green Mamba versus Imadlenya. Green Mamba has been struggling. Will they get their league back at 3 p.m. tomorrow? We'll see as they face off Madlenya. And Singizini Hotspurs again will face off Moneni Pirates tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. There will be other league games that are khona locally, but imehlo amajake kakhulu eNgilandi ku English Premier League akhona ama game maningi kodwa lenkulu kakhulu Manchester City versus Manchester United. It is the Manchester Derby on Sunday the 3rd of March. The game is going to kick off at 5:30 p.m. We'll look at other games as well. Arsenal playing Sheffield United at 10 p.m. on Monday next week. We do want to look at it today nayo ukuthi nje ngabe itawuhamba njani, as well as other league games that we'll discuss with Fabrice Msonera at 7:30.
And also we'll be joined by the Pro Vice Chancellor Lusuga at Botho University, but as programs that the university is offering. They'll be joining us Lomuhla after 6. And of course, as a Friday, the Eswatini Revenue Service yesterday launched the Tax Ease self-service portal, which will help businesses and individuals manage their tax matters easier. The portal will start operating on the 4th of this month, and is part of the integrated revenue administration system. When a clip lesi nilungisele yona nje yayitolo lapho bekusukunyiswa ngalokusemthethweni kwalomsebenzi. Commissioner General ukhulumile, ama stakeholders akhulumile, ama clients ERS nawo akhulumile. So do stay with us as kumanje sibuke nathi lethamba imbili emaphephandabeni. All right, let's look at Times of Eswatini, your leading headlines. Minutes after AKA murder suspects arrest Liswati man removes all items from flat. Empty bottle of expensive whiskey left inside house, beer bottles, booster tablets outside, and community police reveal accused had many female visitors, and also the gate was always locked. I turned down proposal. Accused wanted me to name baby after him, says a pregnant woman. And Mbili, 340 million Amalangini exponent lost is culprit being protected. Kubuta, one of the MPs. Kulenyele hamba imbili, how widow illegally removed an executrix of hubby's estate. And lenyele hamba imbili, textile firm orders all workers to wear pants.
Accused had many female visitors. And so, Demidalo, following EFA's unexpected move, its uproar over national team trials, country's football mother body invites under 20 players for auditions. That's the latest development. Go national team Goma trials. On another one, Amakosi face Birds Derby test. It should be this weekend. Pogba has been handed a 4-year doping ban. Pogba ngeke adlala ibhola iminyaka lemine nxa ukuthi ke uthe nabamtesta bathola ukuthi letitsakamiva thide leti illegal emtimbeni wakhe. UK-based star is out of Sihlangu clash. The highly rated centre-back Logung Mohammed Ali is among the notable absentees in Somalia squad to face Sihlangu later this month.
All right, moving on to the Eswatini Observer. Leading headlines, MPs tell Neil Maswati are hungry. MPs want budget to cater for distribution of food for the needy. Leading headlines, Eswatini commits to fighting plastic pollution. Police took a week to arrest AKA suspect killers and also wanted science subject teachers.
Wanted. Kanze kutemidlalo Eswatini Observer, the leading story is Zesco United as a 2-year contract extension has been made for Lindo and he will remain in the club until 2027. Eswatini born Zesco United defender Linda Mkonda is seen there on the photo. Nedbank continues with Imvelo MTB sponsorship, the cycling sponsorship that Nedbank, together with Big Game Parks, were thrilled to announce that it would continue its long-standing tradition of sponsoring the Imvelo MTB Classic race in what will be the 19th consecutive year of the bank's support. Those are the two leading headlines, the Eswatini Sports Observer.
As per Eswatini Daily News, WTO Conference, Eswatini champions food security for vulnerable nations. Minister Pila tells Study Loan Recovery Consortium non-compliant beneficiaries must be vetted before getting government services. Collaboration only hope for lasting peace and harmony. Prime Minister.
Bull Birds say no semi-final doubleheader, making the leading story there. Temidlalo, Eswatini Daily News, in a story that speaks to Mbabane Giants, Mbabane Highlanders and Swallows United in standing against having a doubleheader in Ingonyama Cup semi-finals. The arch rivals want to host a single header. On another one, the Eswatini Football Association begins COSAFA under-20 preps. Paul Pogba has been banned for 4 years for doping.
Yeah, all right, so 7 minutes after 6, in your toilet, hamba imbili. Right about now, let's take a break. So we're in Zabate Eswatini.
Siphindze sinamukele ehlelweni Maswati lamahle imizuzu isiphohlongo kubumbene insimbi yesithupha sithathabela nathi indzaba teSiswati. Mvunankulu umhlonishwa Russell Mmiso Dlamini uthi leSwatini likholelwa ekutheni kubambisana kwemave ngona lokungasita ekulweni nemithelela yokuguquka kwesimo selitulo. Mvunankulu uthi leSwatini liwatfolile masaphatelo emithelela yokuguquka kwesimo selitulo njengoba kube netimo letifaka ekhatsi tangcotfo netiphepho letingazange setibonwe kangwane. Anzike Mvunankulu kuvete lokhu mayetfula inkulumo yakhe emhlanganweni wakamhlaba wetindzaba temvelo lobanjelwe eNairobi eveni leKenya ngalesine.
Mvunankulu umhlonishwa Russell Mmiso Dlamini uhlanganyele nalabanye baholi babohulumende kanye nebemave eveni leKenya lapho kubukwa khona ukuthi yini lengendiwa kulwa nemithelela yokuguquka kwesimo selitulo. Mvunankulu utshele umhlangano ukuthi leSwatini liyathokoda ngetinyathelo letithethwe ngumhlaba ekwakheni imithetho levikela imvelo noko kusekhona lokufanele kuqiniswe khona.
Excellencies, on the global targets towards net zero, Eswatini has been on the receiving end of climate change induced weather events such as drought, unprecedented tropical cyclones, hail and windstorms. These reverse some of the hard-earned development gains. Excellencies, scientific assessments continue to provide us with stark evidence that more needs to be done in addressing the environmental crisis. The Global Assessment Report of the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services details that nature is declining globally at high rates in human history.
Mengameli welive leKenya umhlonishwa William Ruto uthi umhlaba sosalelwe ngeminyaka phela ukuthi ufike ku 2030 lapho kufanele khona ukuthi imigomo yamhlaba yentuthuko lekhonsako ibe seyifezekile.
We have 6 years left to deliver on the UN 2030 agenda for sustainable development. Unless we collectively undertake radical positive action, we are on course to fail. The obligation falls on each one of us to clearly identify their role in order to define our contribution to this collective endeavor. Each of us must challenge ourselves and one another to unleash and harness our collective creativity and solidarity.
Lo mhlangano ubhekeke ukuthi uphethe ngekuthi uthathe izinqumo letitawusita ekulweni nemithelela lemibi yokuguquka kwesimo selitulu. Tenzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Themkosi Mavimbela eNairobi eKenya.
Anzike ngakulokunye ndvunankulu umhlonishwa Russell Mmiso Dlamini sewumemela ihhovisi lakamhlaba letemvelo i-United Nations Environment Program kuthi liteveni leSwatini. Ndvunankulu uthi leli hhovisi lingakhona ukuthi libone tinhlelo lelingabambisana nalo noma ke lingabambisa ngalo leSwatini etindzabeni tetemvelo. Ndvunankulu kuvetelo kwemhlanganweni nemcondzisi wenhlangano yakamhlaba yetemvelo eAfrica Rose Mwebaza.
Kulo mhlangano ndvunankulu umhlonishwa Russell Mmiso Dlamini ucale wakhangisa live leSwatini.
Many people do not understand when we say we are a democratic kingdom, and indeed we are. It's just that we chose a path that is different from the path that has been chosen by many in the world, that we choose to keep our traditional institutions intact.
Ndvunankulu uphinze wasoma i-United Nations Environment Program kuthi iteveni leSwatini.
Sibese sesiyacela ukuthi bete basite ngokuthi sitokhona kwenda si-implement ama-projects environment na tonke tuvumelwano lesathi sayina tayo letiphathelene nayo imvelo letasayinwa live. Sesitabeseke sibese yabaqela ukuthi live lakithi lendlela elingiyo nabedile ekhaya bakhona kubona impumela yemisebenzi yabo masinyana ngalokho ukuthi we are a compact nation and sinako lokuthula nestability.
Lenhlangano yethembisile ukuthi kukhona lekwendako.
I think the last time I was there was supporting you on climate smart technologies. We are using precision agriculture for the agricultural sector. It's a very good program actually with the Ministry of Agriculture. So to say that we will definitely follow up, I think what we will do to be more precise is to come back and meet with your team on a mission. So we'll arrange for a mission with my colleagues here. Come and agree what projects can we do. Will we go for green climate fund? Is there funding from the multilateral entities that we can capture and bring? Because what we do when you leave is then we sit, review all our support, identify where there are opportunities for funding.
Kulo mhlangano bebakhona lababuke temvelo eveni leSwatini kanye nalabakhulu kule nhlangano yakamhlaba. Tenzabeni Eswatini TV kubika Themkosi Mavimbela eNairobi eveni leKenya.
Indvuna yelitiko letemtsetfo nemtsetfo sekelo umhlonishwa umfana Nkosi Simelana ithi bantfwana besikolo kufanele balibambe ngetandla totimbili lithuba lekufundza njengoba ke ngilo lelitocinisekisa likusasa lelihle kanye nentfutfuko lekhonsako yeleSwatini. Indvuna ikusho lokhu ngesikhatsi ivakashele tindzawo letimbili letingaphansi kwemnyango wekucondzisa timilo lekulijele lasemawelawela kanye nesikolwa iVulamasango.
Indvuna icala ngekuyohlola lijele labomake emawelawela lapho ifike yachazelwa khona ukuthi lisebenta kanjani ngaphambi kokube ichubekele esikolweni iVulamasango lapho nakhona ifike yatibonela mathupha ukuthi lesikolo sihlabana etinhlangothini letehlukene nje. Labantwana bafundziswa kanjani?
Bothishela bantfu labanelubito nathi sibatali nje emakhaya sethembela kubo ukuthi awu ngabo labasifundisela abantwana bethu labangeni basifundisele ihlonipho basifundisele konke lokwa nalokwa ukuthi Siyabathumisa bekunene uyakubabusisa uNkulunkulu. Abawushalata indiza bakhe emaselufoni labalentulu enyangeni ngini laba. Hawu lolungithi thilena laba still asazi kwathi ngisho kwakhansilwe emechiso kepha nini. Awuyoniswa ngumuntu ke uNkulunkulu lelive ulibusisile futhi ke angabusisi lona lodwana umhlaba wonke. Umhlaba wonke mawubuka iBhayibheli kusuka kuGenesis kuya esambulweni. uNkulunkulu munye umbuso la umisile. Umbuso wemakhosi. Kude lo munye umbuso.
Kulolu hambo lwayo induna beyisingathwe ngumphathi wemnyango wekucondzisa timilo lamakhosini Dlamini kanye nalabanye labasetulu embuthweni wekucondzisa timilo. Induna yetemthetho selo yaqala kuvakashela emajele seyifinyelele kulasiphohlongo kanti isetawuchubeka nalolu vakasho lwayo. Etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV ngumbongo Dube kanti tithombe tiqhamuka emnyango wekucondzisa timilo.
Indvuna yelitiko letempilo umhlonishwa Mduduzi Mathebula ithi litiko liyadzinga kubanjiswa tinhlangothi letahlukene kude kutfutfuke tempilo kuleli kanti ke indvuna beyikhuluma ngesikhathi yemukela imishina yokusita kuphefumula lebita tigidzi letimbili nencenye temalangeni 2.2 million lokunikelwe nguhulumende welive leTaiwan.
Hulumende welive leTaiwan uyachubeka nekwesekela live laseSwatini etinhlangothini letahlukene tentutfuko kufaka ekhatsi tempilo kude live nalo libalwe kumave latfutfukile kutemphilo. Ngalesine loncusele live leTaiwan kuleli Jeremy Liang wetfule imishina yekusita labangakhoni kuphefumula kuthi baphefumule kangcono pheceleti positive airway pressure devices etikweni letemphilo.
We are very proud. This is not only, the government of Taiwan has been working diligently to promote the healthcare standards in this country. Not only the government, but the people also join the government to work with the government to promote the relations between our two countries and the people. That's very important. This one that we call Law from Taiwan is not just from the government. This is a coordination, it's a joint effort between the government and the private sectors.
Indvuna yelitiko letempilo umhlonishwa Mduduzi Mathebula wemukele lolu sito.
Kutawusisita kakhulu le mishini ukuthi sikhone ukuthi isilekelele kule todifo lethambelana nemphefumulo. Le mishini lesiphiwa yona ingetulu kwa 2.2 million. Siyabonga kakhulu nje kuhulumende waseTaiwan losibambise kakhulu enhlangothini letiningi ikakhulu thina sibaka health.
Ngakulokunye loncusele live leTaiwan kuleli uthi eminyakeni lophelile liphiko leTaiwan Medical Mission luniketwe lusito lwetempilo lwamahala kubantfu labangetulu kwetinkhulungwane letilishumi-nesiphohlongo. Etindzabeni te-Eswatini TV kubika Samkalswe khoza nasimuva Shongwe eMbabane.
Indvuna yelitiko letekuvakasha Jane Mkhonda seyiphakamise ngalokusemthethweni umsebenzi wemahamba gorge hiking ngaphansi kwesicubulo lesithi Nkwe Let's Invest to Prevent Gender-Based Violence. Lo msebenzi utawube ubanjwe mhla ka-27 nangamhla ka-28 ngenyanga yaMabasa.
Sewelishumi lomnyaka solaqala umkhankaso wokunyuka intsaba yakumahamba le inhloso yawo lenkulu kunakekela labadzingile ngekubakhela tindlu kulekelela insha kusungula emabhizinisi kubala kulokunye. Indvuna yelitiko letekuvakasha umhlonishwa Jane Mkhonda ithi isicubulo salonyaka sihambisana ncamashini inhloso yalomkhankaso lebuke kucedza kweswela ngekusekela nekukhutsata imimango leyisesimeni lesibucayi.
In a bid to support government's commitment in amplifying the importance of creating more awareness. Thus, this year's theme 2024 is Nkwe, Let's Invest to Prevent Gender-Based Violence. Collectively, we should start from our own homesteads, own households. Sende sholo bokuthi we raise umfana wentombazana nemfana wemfana properly. Umthetho ukhona, the strategies are there. The plans of actions were costed. They were to be implemented. Everybody is there to implement the plans of actions because they were multi-sectoral. But kwendekani, the GBV still continues, which means we should start from our own households.
Sihlalo wemahamba coach hiking Dixon Khumalo uchaza lishintsho lolukhona kulomkhankaso walonyaka.
The main event bevamisa besiba lilanga linye kube ngelisonto. But this year sikhanze ukuthi itawuqala vele ngemgcibelo ngaba music festival naloba. And then on Sunday ngalelilanga lemain lelingilona batawuqanqa abantu insaba bese kuthi thereafter bese kuba ne-festival music.
Ngekusho kwelibandla lelibuketa indzaba tebulile ehofisini leliphini Mvunankulu alinganiselwa ku-44,600 emacala ehlukubetana ngetebulili labikiwe kusuka ngeminyaka wa-2020 kuya ku-2023 lapha eveni. Kanti lobucala bendeka kakhulu ekhaya njengoba nge-50 ekhulwini emacala lendeka ekhaya nakacatsaniswa nalamanye amacala ehlukubetana. Ngekusho kwalelibandla amacala lendeka eshiselweni eminyakeni lophelile 14 ekhulwini nakacatsaniswa nalawo lendeka evelonke. Lobika-ke tindzabente Eswatini TV nguthando kuhle Mdluli ngisenhlangano.
Mengameli wetimphunga Lindiwe Dlamini sewumemetele ukuthi libandla lelitawubuka kusebenta kwePhalamende i-Parliamentary Service Board litawukhetfwa mhla til-13 enyangeni yeNdlovulenkhulu. Litiko letemafa nelitiko letemcebo waphansi liphindze letfula imibiko yekusebenta kwetinhlangothi letahlukene kulamatiko. Lokhu kwenteke nayihlala indlu yetimphunga.
Ithi nayihlala indlu yetimphunga kuchubeka nemsebenzi wayo welisuku lohloniphekile ngalesine ekseni. Mengameli wetimphunga imphunga Lindiwe Dlamini wetfule umlayeto wasihlalo welikomiti le-Joint House Committee ngekukhetsa timphunga letawuba ingcenye libandla i-Parliamentary Service Board lapho aphindze achaza khona ngebumcoka baleli bandla endlini.
Shokuthi ibhodi iba nasihlalo nelisekela lasihlalo shokuthi ema-presiding officers speaker na president baba bosihlalo bebhodi on a rotational basis according to the act. Lokusho ukuthi lonyaka nabe kungu-president longisihlalo eminyakeni lotako kuba ngu-speaker kanjalo in terms of the chairmanship bese kuba na clerk lo ex officio member yayona le board bese ke indlu yakaba esikhulu ikhokha lilunga linye letalikhetha ukuthi litoba sebhodini nendlu yetimphunga ikhethe lilunga linye lelitaba sebhodini bese sekuba ke nemalunga lamabili linye lisho ukuthi indlu yetimphunga itawukhetha munye lemthatha ngaphandle naba esikhulu akhethe munye lemthatha ngaphandle bese lalababili bawuqudzelana ku-Joint House taba i-Joint House lekhetha kwemanje ukuthi kulala babili ngubani longenako akhe lilunga lebhodi bese ke soba munye ke lochamuka kangwane lotawugqwalisa lebhodi iphele litokhona kusebenza bodwa umsendwayo kubuka inhlala kahle yeti-70 ukuthi nekusebenta nje kahle kwePhalamende.
Ngaphambi kwekuthi guce indlu yetimphunga ngalesine litiko letemafa letfule imithetho nemibiko yokusebenta kwetinhlangothi letahlukene kuleli tiko letawubuye ikhulunyiswe idzingidwe ngemakomiti labuke kusebenta kwamatiko ahulumende etimphungeni. Etindzabente Eswatini TV kubika Samkalsuyo Khoza kunasikhumbuzo Dlamini nabongani Masuku ePhalamende.
Lisekela lalo waba emafa ehhovisini lakaMaster Sicibelo Magagula usolwa ngekukhipha umfelokati efeni lemyeni wakhe waphindze wakhipha nesijubo lesithi bantfwana labangadalwa ngilomfelokati abathathe tinkhomo letingetulu kwe-30 lomfelokati yena angatfoli ngisho yekubika lokho kuvele ngesikhatsi labantfwana laba bangatinkomo teyise kanye nalomfelokati bavele embi kwekhomishane lephenya tinsolo tekungaphatseki kahle kwemafa ehhovisini lakaMaster.
Lomfelokati Ncobile Mthethwa uthi wabuka tinkomo takhe letingetulu kwe-30 futhi thathwa ngilabantwana bemyeni wakhe Alifosi Mthethwa labatfola sengakamthathi yena. Mthethwa nakashona ngeminyaka wa-2017 bekade umfana Ncobile kanti bebakade bathathene esondweni ngekusho kwaNcobile. Lo mndeni wakaMthethwa wasenzaweni yakumathetha kanti letinkomo tathathwa tayogcina ekhaya lendvosakati yemufi Jabu kaShoba.
Ngenteka ke ngosenkantolo idrama edamu davindwa tinkomo akhona na Mr Magagula ngamshutha batikhomba batihlokolota bebaphethe emaphepha labo bantwana ngathi ngicela kubona ukuthi kubhalwe ukuthini leniphethe bala kongikhombisa bakwenda lalaba kwendako ke wasuka Mr Makagula waconza efasteleni kumadibane lasibanzi angade ke ukuthi yini abayikhuluma wabuya nakacedza ukukhuluma namadibane bathi khipha tinkomo eshokeni kangangeni emandini kwakunemaphoyisa ke kwasenkantolo aphethe ibhango ngalelo langa sadama ukuthi shaya nemelusi sehluleka sitimikisa ekhaya adame amaphoyisa ukuthi afuna ukungidubula ngathi fakani isibhamu mina ngiqoba tinkomo tami ekhaya ngagcina ngehlulekile ke bathi shoka tinkomo bathi mixa etulu eAbachoka shonge itruck yayilandzela
Ikhomishani balekhomishani labaphinya ngaphatheke kahle kwemafa ehhovisini lakaMaster bathanze kwade esekeleni lalobuke kwabiwa kwemafa khona kaMaster Sicibelo Makagula ukuthi wawathathaphe manje ekhipha lo mfelekathi efeni lemyeni wakhe nekuthi agunyatela abantwana ukuthi bashwale tonke letinkomo sekade iphendvulela Makagula ubeke kanjena
pheze ke sambhalela silofisi lakaMaster ukuthi simtshela ukuthi sesimremovile kuba ngu-executor if simremovile kuba executor simremovile kuba yi-beneficiary if angasi-satisfied ngaloko akaye enkantolo ayo-approach inkantolo samnika 30 days and the return date was supposed to be 11 December 2023 so there was no communication received 11 December 2023. Then 19 December 2023, the new executor went to distribution account lecture. They say exclude the previous executor.
Bantwana labanga letinkomo namakwabo bathi letinkomo bathatha edibhini bagunyata sijubo lesakhishwa lisekela laMaster Sicibelo Makagula.
Kuthi inkomo ithathwe kwaphuma incwadi yokuthi leyithathwe le azivumelananga ukuthi sithine sawushuba tonke lenkomo kwasho uMaster wathi asithathe inkomo lokhu sibangela ukuthi singaye ekhaya mina for myself kwathi makushona babe ngathi mangisuka ngibele ekhaya kwaqhamuka ligama lokuthi ngibe emabhodlo
nyalo lokubanga ukuthi kuze kufike la ngilokuthi vele akweviwana ingakho kwangazi ukuthi Master ugcina akhipha sivuze ukuthi mhlawumbe akweshe
Ikhomishani icela ihhovisi lakaMaster ukuthi aliyilungise lendzaba lisekela lalowo babe emafa lindelwa Makagula uvele wasukuma ngaleso sikhathi wathi ihhovisi lakaMaster lithatha ijikisa letinkomo litimikise kulomfelokati
sibiya asibuselele tinkomo emuva ngonje lokumelula le ngakhona ukuthi ngokhulume la embikwe libandla nabo bonke laba bamthethwa labakhona la kuze kuthi kukhona ukuthi kusombululeke lokho ngidawucela wamthetha ukuthi angibiselele inkomo staff
Ukhomishani bagcizelele ehhovisini lakaMaster ukuthi alisebenze licetse lendzaba yokwabiwa kwelifa lalabo abakamthethwa etindzabeni kubika Fortune Dlangamandla inasimuva shongwe sisembabane
Kutemidlalo livela kangwane alisiyo ingcenye yemave lafakiwe luhlweni lwemave lakhishiwe inhlangano leyengamele umdlalo wevolleyball emhlabeni pheceleti ivolleyball ranking kanti-ke ngekusho kwamengameli wemidlalo wevolleyball kuleli Eric Gama kwehluleka kungenela imidlalo yase-Afrika lebeyibanjelwe eveni leCameroon ngiko lokwente live lingakakhoni ukuthi-ke lingakhoni kufakwa kuma-rankings. Tingako tesiswati tindzaba sitawubahlola emakethe sitawubuya sicocisane nalabachamuka eBotho University.
Studio One is back on your screens with brand new episodes. Brand new episodes. Catch your favorite local artists, live performances, your movers and shakers, the hustlers, doing the work. Entertainment news, local and international, nothing but fresh vibes every Saturday at 6 p.m. Let's go. What are you doing on a Saturday evening? We got nothing but the best. Vibes for moves.
Welcome back. You're so watching Kusile. Professor Savusela Naolosanza Gusi Vulela, the Commissioner General Itolo, Waga ARS Bratton Kambule officially launched the e-tax portal. Lapokona Bosma business Batokona, Gwenda Misebendi Abole Patselene Patalwa, Gwemselo. We Guba Shanganisekele clip lena, Lapobe Tubeka Kona, Lomsebendi Bakulmisene, my clients, Kanyana stakeholders, Gulu Lomsebendi. Let's take a look.
It is joy for us today to be standing here and actually sharing with our key stakeholders in terms of what we are going to showcase today.
We are from a system called Revenue Management System, the RMS system that we procured in 2011, and we are replacing that system with this one. And also we listened to the clients who raised some concerns with some of the applications therein. So we are moving to this system because we believe this one will address most of the problems. We know high level that this one is highly configurable, this ORMP system that we are buying from Oracle, and it is able to integrate with other systems. The old one, RMS, was very rigid, and we wanted to integrate with other systems as of long ago, because we took a decision as the ARS that we want to be data-driven. This one that we are launching today is going to take us there. Also, the security of the data is much more guaranteed on this system that we are taking you to. So briefly, I'll be talking to what you must expect on Monday when we go live on the 4th. You will be getting notifications if you are a client registered currently on the old system with us. On your email, you'll be getting a link that will take you to register or sign up into this new program.
It is an innovative tax service portal. So when we say self-service, we want you to realize self-service for real. This time around, we just want you to just sit back and just watch yourself complying. If we had kind of like a scale, and maybe you were at 1/10, because of the system, you'll be at 10.5/10 because of the system. It's going to make things easy for you. I'm not going to read word for word. Everything has just been said, but all that you are here to do now is just to demonstrate this wonderful system that you will also be calling us and saying, bring more, bring more. We love what ARS is busy doing to us, because now we're in good books of the government. You have everything right in front of you. So within account, you are able to see your filing history. We've been receiving calls after calls, clients wanting to know, may I please have my return that I filed 2023 December? You have it here. For as long as you are a client and your TIN is active and your email address has been linked to the TIN, you will see all those details. You can click on filing history. You can go as back as you want. You'll be able to see a return. You can view, you can save it, you can even download it if you want. But we are not encouraging papers anymore. We've given you a package. Within user inquiry, you can create a new inquiry with the ERS, and you are able to choose who are you contacting in the ERS? When you say who are you contacting in the ERS, is it an issue of audit? Is it a query within the debt? Is it a query, or is it like a general query? Is it an issue of objections? Is it about payments? Is it about refunds? Is it about registration? So you have a long list where you can choose from, and the minute you are done with your query, you just send it through, and the one responsible or the officers within that department that you've chosen are able to receive your query and they send you back.
The system we're putting in place is called Oracle Revenue Management and Billing, or RMB in short. Both the database and the application run on Oracle technology. In fact, ORMB itself is part of a wider technological framework supported by Oracle that makes the system very flexible and extensible. Over the years, the system has evolved, adapting to new technologies, and even changed name at times. The main takeaway, though, is that over the years, Oracle continuously invested in ORMB and continues investing in it.
We want to connect with your ERP or your accounting system so that you don't have to step back, log into our system to upload the schedule. We want to pull the details on a monthly basis and just create the returns for you, for income tax, for VAT, and for payroll. We would like to connect with your payroll systems. We are working very hard right now with the projects that is being introduced by the central banks for the banking industry in the country. We'll be integrating our systems again with the new systems that the central bank is introducing, so that, as she presented earlier, you should have an option that after filing your return, you don't need to have to log out of our systems and log into the banking platform to issue that instruction. We would like you to, within our systems, to just press a button and say pay.
Portal I think it takes compliance to another level. So concern especially the compliance, the cost of compliance. Where you have to hire more people and then do more processes who comply. But it looks like the system will do a lot of things. Maybe most of the work and the returns up.
This system will ideally help our members, as we are responsible for all accountants and auditors in the country. So now we'll be able to file our returns and also to conduct audits under a system that will be housing all information for us. And also to the general population of Eswatini is that now it will limit or cut the issue of queues in the centers.
The system will automate a lot of compliance obligations for our clients, because what we noted was that the major obstacle on compliance is the compliance burden. A lot of clients don't understand their compliance obligations. Some understand, but they find it complicated. So the systems that we have now will ultimately just link with the accounting systems and do the compliance for them.
First of all, we are extremely grateful to ERS for the invitation to have a look at the live demo of the new tax portal, TaxEase. It gave us an opportunity to actually just go through all the different tabs and see what is on offer. ERS is a very big partner to the business community just by the nature of it. Now, this might seem a bit paradoxical given the nature of a tax administrator, but over the years we've cultivated a culture of collaboration. We at Business Eswatini always encourage the culture of compliance, and our partnership is firmly rooted in terms of making compliance easier so that the business community can also understand what services they are able to receive from ERS.
ERS Tax Ease.
ERS Tax Ease.
ERS Tax Ease.
ERS Tax Ease.
All right, the official launch of the Tax Ease portal by the Eswatini Revenue Service. Commissioner General Botho Nkambule officially launched the portal namagele platform yabosoma business. Nasi we magete sikhulumisana na Pro-Vice Chancellor Mr. Sedume on programs offered by Botho University.
Be sure to catch Business Watch every Wednesday between 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. where we feature the latest updates on business news, market trends, and exclusive interviews with industry leaders, as well as insights on emerging small and medium enterprises in the commercial sector. Business Watch, your business leader.
Residents of Simunye and surrounding areas are notified that intense TV license door-to-door inspections are being conducted in the region. The exercise starts on the 19th to the 28th of February 2024. Stay alert. Our TV license inspectors will be wearing Eswatini TV gear and will have tags that confirm their identity. Don't be scammed. Our inspectors do not ask for cash payments. Pay your TV license only at specified pay points or call us on 34050163 or 78024545 for more information. Alternatively, you can send a WhatsApp message to 76222000 and we'll chat with you. Pay your TV license today, enhance the industry.
Welcome back, Sakvosela Nolosanza Gosivulela. I'm joined by the Pro-Vice Chancellor from Botho University, Mr. Sedume, who's going to talk to us about programs offered at the university. A very good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Very good morning.
Tell us about Botho University. Where does it originate?
Well, Botho University is a Pan-African, brand which originates in Botswana. It started in 1997, so we are 26 years now old, and it has campuses here in Eswatini. We have a campus at Riverstone Mall. We have a campus in Ghana, which is just newly established. Okay. We have a campus in Maseru, Lesotho, and we have a blended and distance learning campus, which is very, very vibrant. So here in Eswatini, we operate from Riverstone Mall. We are indeed a Pan-African brand, as it were.
Okay, so Mr. Sedume, you're here to convince students to join you at Botho University. What is so unique about your university? Why should students come and enroll at Botho University?
Yeah, Botho University, focuses on two main key pillars. One is student employability. We do realize, of course, that for a student to go through a university degree and not get employed is really a nightmare. So we focus more on employability. And what do we do when we talk about employability? We make sure that the curriculum that we design is actually industry relevant. So we do an extensive market needs analysis to ensure that the curriculum responds to the need of the economy. But also, as we deliver that curriculum, we deliver it in a very enterprising manner, in the sense that we also then involve the industry throughout. We set up what we call industry reference forums, which comprises really councils or people from industry, so that they can give us feedback on a regular basis as to how we are, the trends in their relevant industries, so that we can be able to adapt and adjust as may be necessary. But also, the fact that we are Pan-African, we offer students opportunities, to study abroad through our exchange programs, which I'll talk to later on, where students from Botho University, Eswatini, can actually go and study for a semester, credit bearing for that matter, in another partner university, and they can come back and transfer those credits into their program. We, in terms of employability, again, we ensure that our students have an opportunity to either study, social entrepreneurship, innovation, which are very core in terms of today's trends in the economy. We have what we call internships, which are physical, where students can actually go into industry as part of their study. And this is a credit bearing also module, and actually be exposed to the industry and then come back and continue their studies. But maybe of interest also is that during the COVID era, we then introduced what we called a virtual internship. And 7 of our students here in Botho University, Eswatini, took part in that. Now, this is where they were based in Eswatini, but attached to companies that were all over the globe, in Asia, in Europe, and really doing projects in those companies while based here. And the beauty of it is that then those students get an opportunity to get employed. But lastly, let me talk to quality. Okay. Quality is actually a key thrust of what we do. We call it the DNA of Botho University. And I'm happy to say that we don't take shortcuts when it comes to quality. We breathe it, we live it, we sleep it. Here in Eswatini, the first thing we did was to make sure that we are compliant to the regulatory requirements. So we are registered, we are accredited by ESHEC as an institution. Our learning programs, which my colleague will talk to later, they are also fully accredited by ESHEC. So quality to us.
Are they government sponsored as well, some of them?
And our students, of course, they are now sponsored by MLSS, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. So when they apply with us and they meet the criteria of the sponsor, they also get the opportunity to get sponsored. I want to read a slide which will actually blow your mind. This slide talks to a study we did in 2016 with the World Bank IFC group. And the figures don't lie, because what they are saying, the study now concluded that 80% of students at Botho University received relevant and timely career advice. 96% of the students were confident of achieving their career goals. And 82% of employers are satisfied with our ability to develop and to produce industry-ready graduates. And 96% of our students are able to recommend Botho University to their peers, which normally doesn't happen with any other institution. So which means really we give them experiences that will transform their lives and ensure that they can be industry ready.
All right, so lastly, Mr. Situma, talk to us about strategic partnerships that you have with other organizations here in Eswatini.
Yeah, well, first let me say we believe in having strategic partnerships, but our partnerships are more skewed towards also university to university, level. Here in Eswatini, because we are really just finding our feet and being established 4 years ago, we're still talking to potential partners. But we do have partnerships regionally. For example, just across the border, South Africa.
30 seconds.
We do have the partnership with the University of Venda. We have partnerships in Europe, KTH, Royal Institute of Technology in Sweden. And these partnerships are very active, by the way. They actually involve exchange of students, collaborative projects, curriculum development, research, collaborations. But of course, as I said, here in Eswatini also, we are looking at areas in which we can partner with the local institutions.
All right, thanks so much, Mr. Sedume, for joining us and for that information as well on Botho University. After the break, sikhuluma na Ms. Sindisiwe Mhlongo, who is a lecturer at Botho University.
Renewal of TV licenses for 2024 is now open. Here is a quick reminder. A viewer's TV license costs 180 emalangeni per device. Other accessories such as decoders and set-top box cost 50 emalangeni per device. For traders and repairers, TV license costs 300 emalangeni per business area. And now, to pay your TV license, use these following methods. You can use MTN Mobile Money with the number 762222000 or dial *007 *3 *7 hash. Or you can use Eswatini Imali. You can pay our TV license at any post office in the country. Another option is you can use any NetBank branch using our TV license account number 119900430037. Don't forget, when paying for your viewer's TV license, reference with your PIN at all times. And when paying for a retailer TV license, reference with your TIN at all times. For more information, call us on 7802-4543 or 34050163 or 34020879. And you can send us a WhatsApp message on 762222000.
Welcome back. Solo Sitrubeka Nebu Kulmagawanding at Botho University. I'm joined by one of the lecturers in the Faculty of Business and Accounting, Sindisiwe Mhlongo Mo. Sataskozalabandi, Nama programs that are offered at Botho University, Ganjalo Nangema admissions. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for joining us. Sataskozale, Mr. Sedume, about the institution Guti Kamgapi Yendani and why students should come and enroll at your university. Let's talk about my admissions. Are you guys open for admissions for students as well as my programs that are offered by the university?
Thank you very much, Mtombeni, for having us this morning. Our admissions, they are open, and I would say currently we are open for admissions and recruitment up until mid-June, which is 2024, and students can apply online. They can also apply also at the university, where they can visit us live at the university. The good part with it, there is no application fee. They don't need to pay any application fee. What they need to do, especially when they apply online, they must have a certified copy of their IDs, certified copy of their result statement, and also a passport size photo, so that it will enable them to apply online. And also they can carry also those documents when they visit us at Riverstone Mall in our campus, Eswatini. The programs that we have, the good part, my colleagues, as he has mentioned, that they are all accredited. We have got about 8 programs in there. Under these programs, there are 3 faculties. We've got the Faculty of FET, which is Faculty of Engineering and Technology. We've got Faculty of FBA, which is Faculty of Business and Accounting, and also Faculty of FHE, which is Faculty of Health Information Management System. So under these 3 faculties, for example, the FET, we've got a BSc in Computing, We have got a BSc in Computer Forensic and Network, which is a course. We have got also BSc in Mobile Computing. Then under the Faculty of Business and Accounting, we have got the BCom Accounting. We have got a Bachelor of Business Administration in Business Management. We have got also ACCA. We've got a CIMA as well. Then under the Faculty of Healthy, we've got the Bachelor of Healthy Information System Management, where you find that students, they get those skills in terms of the healthy department. They can become healthy information or data information system officers, you know, and also they can be data, they can be, but in terms of this data under the healthy department.
All right, so do you provide distance learning or part-time learning for people that are employed?
The good part, my colleague earlier mentioned that we do have the BDL campus, which is a blended distance learning, where a student or people who are already in the industry, they can further their studies online. But that one is accredited in our head office, which is Botswana, but it's an internationally, so we do get international students, even Eswatini students, they are there under the BDL campus. They studied there, some they even graduated, so we do have that a platform where students can, or those who are already in the field, can further their studies so that they can be relevant to the current situation.
Okay, so lastly, do you have any other, perhaps any information that you would like to share to the viewers, students, and also what are your contact details and how do people reach you if they want to get more information?
Thank you very much. I would start maybe with our contact details. They can call us. We do have our landline, which is 545-2288. From 7:30 up to 5:30, you will still find us in the office. And also we are available on WhatsApp, which is a 79248837. And it's available 24/7. And also the people can also visit us on our website, which is eswatini.bothouniversity.com, and also they can visit our Facebook page and Twitter. Another thing which I can share with our viewers at home, we will have our first graduation in Eswatini in April, so it's exciting. Yes,
all right.
it is.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us. There you have it, Botho University. So do make sure that you contact them to get more information about their programs. Naleminye emininingwane eloifuna. Let's take a break. Spend it in Zabate Singisi.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi
aba research bafunze.
Being risky it means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sende ukukhicita lokusembili.
Welcome back. This is the news at 7. His Excellency the Prime Minister Russell Miso Dlamini says the Kingdom of Eswatini believes multilateralism is key in combating effects of climate change. The Premier says Eswatini has been on the receiving end of climate change-induced weather, which includes drought and tropical cyclones. The Premier has said this when addressing the United Nations Environment Assembly in Nairobi, Kenya on Thursday.
His Excellency the Right Honourable Prime Minister Russell Miso Dlamini attended the 6th United Nations Environment Assembly with other leaders of governments and heads of state. The Prime Minister said the Kingdom of Eswatini was satisfied with the progress made in terms of environmental protection legislation, although more can still be done.
Excellencies, on the global targets towards net zero, Eswatini has been on the receiving end of climate change induced weather events such as drought, unprecedented tropical cyclones, hail and windstorms. These reverse some of the hard-earned development gains. Excellencies, scientific assessments continue to provide us with stark evidence that more needs to be done in addressing the environmental crisis. The Global Assessment Report of the Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services details that nature is declining globally at high rates in human history.
Kenya President, His Excellency William Ruto, reminded the Assembly that the 2030 UN agenda is just...
We have 6 years left to deliver on the UN 2030 agenda for sustainable development. Unless we collectively undertake radical positive action, we are on course to fail. The obligation falls on each one of us to clearly identify their role in order to define our contribution to this collective endeavor. Each of us must challenge ourselves and one another to unleash and harness our collective creativity and solidarity.
The summit is expected to come out with resolutions that will assist countries fight effects of climate change. For Eswatini TV News, Temosima Vimbela, Nairobi, Kenya.
The Minister of Justice, Honorable Prince Milane, says school children should embrace the learning opportunity they are accorded, as it will ensure a bright and sustainable future for them as well as the country. The minister was speaking during his tour of 2 centers under His Majesty's Correctional Services, being Mawela Correctional Center and Vulamasango School.
The Honorable Minister's first stop was the Mawela Women's Correctional Center, where he was informed about the operations of the center. He then proceeded to Vulamasango School, where he was able to learn about the secrets of the school's tutorial expertise, which has seen the school attain success in many fields under education.
Bothishela bantu labanelubito nathi sibatali nje emakhaya sethembela kubo ukuthi awu ngabo labasifundisela abantwana bethu labangeni.
Teachers have a calling to impart knowledge on children, and even parents rely on them for the development of their children. That's why we are really grateful to God for giving us teachers. As you are getting your education, it will equip you to be innovative and invent technological gadgets, go to space and do much more, unlike us, the older generation who can't even make a matchstick. Don't let people mislead you. Our country is blessed because it is led by the king, something which the Bible teaches. Therefore, there is no other leadership we can opt for, but uphold the monarchy.
In the tour, the Honorable Minister was accompanied by the Commissioner General Lamakosini Dlamini and other high-ranking officials in the Correctional Services Department. The minister has so far visited 8 correctional centers around the country and is expected to proceed to the rest of the centers to continue familiarizing himself with their operations. Reporting, Mbongwa Dube, and pictures sourced from the correctional services.
The Honorable Minister of Health, Mduduzi Masebula, says Eswatini needs support from development partners to improve the country's healthcare standards. The Honorable Minister was speaking when receiving a donation of 17 positive airway pressure devices worth 2.2 million malangeni from the government of the Republic of China and Taiwan.
The government of the Republic of China and Taiwan continues to support the Kingdom of Eswatini in different areas of economic development, including the health sector, to elevate Eswatini's healthcare standards and creating greater well-being for Emaswati. Taiwan Ambassador to Eswatini, Jeremy Liang, handed over a donation of 17 positive airway pressure devices.
We are very proud. This is not only, the government of Taiwan has been working diligently
to promote the healthcare standards in this country. Not only the government, but the people also join the government to work with the government to promote the relations between our two countries and the people. That's very important. This one that we call law from Taiwan is not just from the government. This is a coordination, it's a joint effort between the government and the private sectors.
The Honorable Minister of Health, Mduduzi Matsebula, received the donation on behalf of the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini.
Kutawusisita kakhulu le machine ukuthi sikhone ukuthi isilekelele kule todifo lethambelana nemphefumulo. Le machine lesiphiwa yona ingetulu kwa 2.2 million. Siyabonga kakhulu nje kuhulumende wase-Taiwan losibambise kakhulu enhlangothini letiningi ikakhulu thina sibaka health.
Still on the elevation of Eswatini healthcare standards, the Taiwan Medical Mission provided free medical services to 18,741 eMaswati last year. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Suekoza with Simuva Shongwe Babane.
The Senate President Lindiwe Dlamini has announced the election of Parliamentary Service Board members. The Ministries of Finance and Natural Resources also tabled annual reports for their institutions.
This year marks the 10th edition of the Mahamba Goch hiking since its inception in the year 2014. Proceeds collected from the hiking event have over the
When the Senate convened for parliamentary business on Thursday morning, Senate President Senator Lindiwe Dlamini read a notice from the chairperson of the Joint House Committee issued in terms of Section 4 of the Parliamentary Service Act of 2015. Senate President Lindiwe Dlamini also furnished the House with the importance of the Parliamentary Service Board.
Shokuthi ibhodi iba na sihlalo nelisekela la sihlalo shokuthi ema presiding officers speaker na president baba bosihlalo bebhodi on a rotational basis according to the act. Lokushokuthi lonyaka nabe kungu president long sihlalo emnyakeni lotako kuba ngu speaker kanjalo in terms of the chairmanship bese kuba na clerk lo ex officio member yayona le board bese ke indlu yakaba esikhulu ikhokha ilunga linye letalikhetha kuthi lito ba sebhodini nendlu yetimbunga ikhethe lilunga linye lelitaba sebhodini bese sekuba ke nemalunga lamabili linye shokuthi indlu yetimbunga itawukhetha munye lemthatha ngaphandle nabayesikhulu akhethe munye lemthatha ngaphandle bese lalababili bawuqudzelana ku joint house taba I joint house lekhetha kwemanje ukuthi kulala babili ngubani longenako akhe lilunga le board bese ke so uba munye ke lochamuka kangwane lotawugqwalisa le board iphele litokhona kusebenza bodwa umsendwayo kubuka inhlala kahle yeti 70
Before the Senate adjourned businesses after day on Thursday, the Ministry of Finance tabled reports on the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini estimates for the years from 1st of April 2024 to March 31st, 2027, and also the Treasury Annual Report for the financial year 31st March 2023. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy also tabled the Eswatini Electricity Company Integrated Annual Report for 2023. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Suekoza with Zikumbuzo Dlamini and Bongani Masugu, Parliament.
Assistant Master in the Office of the Master of the High Court, Sibelo Makakula, is said to have removed a widow from the list of her deceased husband's estate beneficiaries and further issued a verdict that her stepchildren should take over 30 cows, leaving the wife with nothing. This was revealed when the children and their stepmother appeared before the Judicial Commission of Inquiry investigating alleged malpractice in the Office of the Master of the High Court.
The widow Nqobile Mthethwa informs the Judicial Commission of Inquiry currently probing the Master of the High Court office for alleged gross maladministration, abuse of power and embezzlement of estate monies that she was helpless as her cows were being grabbed by her stepchildren. They are fighting over the estate of her late husband Alpheus Mthethwa. When Alpheus died in the year 2017, he and Nqobile had no children. The Mthethwa family is from Matsetsa area and the cows were taken to the deceased daughter, Jabu, who resides at Gashoba.
Davinjwa tinkomo akhona na Mr. Makapula ngamshutha. Batikhomba batihlokolota. Bebaphethe emaphepha labo bantwana. Ngathi ngicela kubona ukuthi kubhalwe ukuthini lengiphethe. Bala kungikhombisa.
Commissioners of the Judicial Commission of Inquiry investigating alleged malpractice in the office of the Master of the High Court wanted to know from the Assistant Master Scribelo Makakula, who mandated him to remove the widow from her husband's estate. The commissioners also wanted to know why he issued a ruling that the children should take the cows from the widow. When responding, the Assistant Master Scribelo Makakula told the Commission that he acted after convening a family meeting that the widow failed to attend.
Phindze ngisambhalela siloffice master ukuthi simtshela ukuthi sesimremovile kuba ngu-executor if simremovile kuba executor simremovile kuba yi-beneficiary if angasi satisfy ngaloko akaye enkantolo approach inkantolo samnika 30 days.
The stepchildren who are at loggerheads with their stepmother say they took away the cows following a directive from the office of the Master of the High Court. They say the directive was written down by Assistant Master Scribelo Makakula.
Kuthi inkomo idathe kwaphuma incwadi ukuthi leyithatho le azivumelananga ukuthi sithine sawushuba tonke le nkomo kwasho master wathi asithathe inkomo. Nyalo lokubanga ukuthi kuze kufike la ngilokuthi vele akweviwana.
The commissioners urged the office of the Master of the High Court to resolve the Mtetwa dispute. The Deputy Assistant Master Lindelo Makakula says the office will reverse the decision taken by Scribelo Makakula. She says the cow will be taken to be in custody of the widow.
Sibiya asibuselele tinkomo emuva. Ngonje lokumelula le ngakhona ukuthi ngikhulume la embikwe bandla. Nabo bonke laba kamthethwa labakhona la kuze kuthi kukhona ukuthi kusombululeke lokho ngidawucela wamthethwa ukuthi angiselele inkomo.
The commissioners emphasized to the office of the Master of the High Court to resolve the Mtetwa family issue as soon as possible. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Smuva Shongwe Mbabane.
The University of Eswatini has taken its employees to court where, among other prayers, wants the court to interdict the workers from participating in the unlawful work stoppage. In the court papers, the university registrar, Dr. Salebona Simelane, said the work stoppage arises from the demands for the resignation of the university management, payments of medical aid, as well as pension remittances.
In an affidavit, the University of Eswatini Registrar Dr. Salebona Simelane said the unlawful work stoppage commenced on the 26th of February 2024. Dr. Simelane says the university seeks an order interdicting the members of the Association of Lecturers, Academic and Administrative Personnel, ALAP, and National Workers Union in Eswatini Higher Institution Nawoshi from calling upon the management of UNESCO to resign and from taking any action in furtherance of such. He went on to add that the university further seeks an order withdrawing the union's recognition in terms of Section 42. The basis of the order is that the union have breached a material term of agreement through engaging in an unlawful work stoppage or strike action. The registrar added that the dispute between the parties can be categorized as a dispute of right and not a dispute of interest. He said this being a dispute of right, the members of the unions are not entitled to engage in any strike action, and the route to be taken is approaching the industrial court. The university also seeks an order directing the Eswatini police to maintain peace and order at the university. He said history has proven that without the assistance of the police, the court orders simply become a piece of paper without being respected, hence the need for the intervention of the police. Dr. Simelane also added that the unlawful actions of the union's members will not only affect the university, but also the students who have a right to receive education and also be assessed through examinations. The ongoing strike action in the university has resulted in the examinations postponed to a later stage. Industrial Court of Eswatini Judge Abande Dlamini said the matter will be argued on Saturday at 10 a.m. The university is represented by lawyer Abanele Kametse. while the unions have hired services of Mxoli Dlamini and Haso Makakula. For Eswatini TV News, Fortune Dlangamandla with Smuva Shong Industrial Court.
In our sports news, Israeli troops fired on a crowd of Palestinians waiting for aid in Gaza City on Thursday. Witnesses said more than 100 people were killed, bringing the death toll since the start of the Israel-Hamas war to more than 30,000. Where discretion is advised.
These images filmed in Gaza on Thursday morning and shared on social media show the minutes after the deadly events that took place on Al-Rashid Street. Most show wounded people being brought to several hospitals in the area. This is the hospital in Beit Lahia.
We were on Al-Rashid Street, and suddenly tanks attacked us. There were parcels packed with aid. Many people, desperate because of lack of nutrition, lack of flour, and of aid, headed to the sea to get aid. It was chaos. There were crowds of people, and the occupation forces fired on us. There were so many people killed and wounded.
My nephews went there to bring flour, but they fired on them. We are under siege. Take pity on us. Ramadan is coming soon. People should look at us, pity us.
According to the Israeli army, these images show the crowd approaching the aid trucks. The whole of the enclave has been struggling with very little food, water, and aid, and the people in the northern part of Gaza have had almost no aid at all. The Israeli army said that when the trucks arrived, people rushed towards them, that there was pushing and trampling. Defense officials said that the crowd approached the forces in a manner that posed a threat to the troops, who responded to the threat with live fire. This violence comes as talks were ongoing to reach a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas.
Ukraine's military said on Tuesday it had withdrawn from 2 more villages near the eastern town of Advika, which was captured earlier this month by Russian forces, losing more territory as support from its western allies runs short.
A Russian flag is planted among the wreckage of a village in eastern Ukraine in footage released by the Russian military on Wednesday.
We're at Lastoshkina village right now. We continue to liberate territories, new territories.
This week, Ukraine's ammunition-starved troops have retreated in parts of the country's war-torn east, ceding them to Russian forces. Indeed, the Russians have continued to seize territory after taking the key stronghold of Avdiivka 2 weeks ago. To the city's north, Ukrainian forces have been constructing fortifications in Chasiv Yar in preparation of a Russian advance. Russia has been smashing the town with artillery, missiles, and airstrikes for months. And to the west, police released footage of rubble at the site of the Donetsk National Technical University, which they say was destroyed by Russian missiles. As Russia continues its assault on the Donbas, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky met with Balkan leaders in Tirana on Wednesday, pleading for aid and ammunition.
Every pause in supply, every doubt that the world is ready to defend itself, all this inspires one person. All this inspires Putin. And the more he sees our deficits, arms deficits, the more he thinks he can push Europe and the West.
EU allies are rallying to address the ammunition shortfall with a Czech-led plan to buy munitions from outside the bloc. The plan would allocate 1.4 billion euros for 500,000 rounds of ammunition and 300,000 shells.
The leaders of 23 European parliaments are imploring U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson to take up and pass additional aid for Ukraine in its war with Russia. Johnson says Congress must attend to other priorities first.
Ukrainian soldiers fighting near the eastern city of Bakhmut say they need more heavy weapons and ammunition to hold back invading Russian forces.
On all directions, the enemy increased his activity. He got inspired by his recent successes. But nevertheless, we are trying to hold the front line. But it's all about heavy weapons. We will hold them back as well as counterattack. Without weapons, without aviation, it will be passive defense, and sooner or later, we will be outgunned.
The speakers of 23 European parliaments, including Ukraine, Germany, Austria, Czechia, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, Spain, France, and Poland, have appealed directly to the Republican Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, asking him to bring U.S. military aid to a vote to empower Kyiv to fight back. VOA caught up with Speaker Johnson on Thursday on Capitol Hill and asked him about the letter.
The House is looking at all available options right now, and we'll address that as soon as the government responds.
The current standoff comes after some Republican lawmakers, at the request of former President Donald Trump, blocked a bipartisan border and national security package that would have provided funding for Ukraine and overhauled the asylum system for migrants. Senate Democrats and many Republican lawmakers have expressed their frustration with Johnson, saying time is of the essence.
We passed a Ukraine aid bill with 70 votes. It is now Speaker Johnson's decision. Speaker Johnson has to decide whether he wants to go down in history as the person who handed Ukraine to Russia. That's it.
Former U.S. Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta also spoke to VOA.
And I think ultimately the Speaker has to understand that if he fails to provide that vote, and he and the Republican Party will be viewed as being supportive of Putin. I don't think they want that.
Meanwhile, in Moscow on Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin gave his State of the Nation address, which was broadcast live on buildings across the city. Putin warned that the consequences of sending NATO troops into Ukraine would be tragic, saying he has nuclear weapons that can strike the West. French President Emmanuel Macron has launched a discussion among NATO countries, saying that Ukraine is fighting for Europe's security, and the possibility of deploying Western troops to Ukraine cannot be excluded.
Moldova's breakaway region asked Russia on Wednesday to help its economy withstand Moldovan pressure at a meeting of hundreds of officials dismissed by the pro-European government as a propaganda event to gain headlines.
It's a slither of land that borders Ukraine where over 1,000 Russian soldiers are believed to be stationed. And when Transnistria's de facto leaders ask for protection from Moscow, alarm bells quickly start ringing among Western nations. Transnistria's rebel officials say the Moldovan government is waging a, quote, economic war against the region. And Russia has promised to consider their requests, saying their residents' protection is one of their priorities. News of the separatists' appeal has brought fear to some in the Moldovan capital.
I'm afraid that the war could break out here too, and our military is weak. We don't have any resources.
This worries me because the Transnistrian region has often been more pro-Russian than the rest of Moldova. At the moment, I don't see anything that could easily solve the current tensions.
The breakaway region has been controlled by pro-Russian forces since the collapse of the Soviet Union, after separatists fought a war with Moldova's pro-Western government. Russia provides free gas to the region, but to this day it officially remains part of Moldova. NATO's accusing Moscow of using its influence to interfere in Moldovan politics. The United States have thrown their weight behind President Maia Sandu's government.
Given Russia's increasingly aggressive and destabilizing role in Europe, we are watching Russia's actions in Transnistria and the broader situation there very closely. The United States firmly supports Moldova's sovereignty and territorial integrity within its internationally recognized borders.
Moldova has rejected Transnistria's statements, labelling them as propaganda. Back in 2022, a series of explosions rocked the small territory. Military analysts believe they may have come from Russia, in an attempt to drag Transnistria into the Ukrainian conflict.
Joe Biden and Donald Trump traded blame for America's immigration crisis as they made dueling visits to U.S.-Mexican border on Thursday, putting the hot-button issue at the heart of their race for the White House in November.
Vying to control the narrative on illegal immigration, former President Trump and current President Biden made simultaneous visits to the Texas towns of Eagle Pass and Brownsville along the Mexican border. President Biden called out the Republican presidential candidate for blocking his efforts to toughen up border control.
Here's what I would say to Mr. Trump. You know and I know it's the toughest, most efficient, most effective border security bill this country has ever seen. So instead of playing politics with the issue, why don't we just get together and get it done?
This after Trump told Republican lawmakers to block the bill rather than give Biden a political victory. The bill promised more border control agents, more immigration judges, and would give the president authority to temporarily close the border in emergencies. But after more than 2.4 million migrants crossed the southern U.S. border in 2023, many fleeing poverty, Trump slammed the president's migration record.
This is a Biden invasion over the past 3 years. Now the United States is being overrun by the Biden migrant crime. It's a new form of vicious violation to our country.
In the run-up to the November 2024 presidential election, a Gallup poll published on Tuesday showed immigration has risen to top spot in voters' preoccupations. 28% of those polled called it the most important problem facing the country, up from 20% in January.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump hailed a Supreme Court decision to hear an appeal of a lower court ruling that rejected his claim of immunity from prosecution for acts he committed while serving as president. The Supreme Court decision delays a federal criminal case alleging that Trump subverted the results of the 2020 presidential election.
It's far from a done deal, but presidential immunity for Donald Trump over his efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election result is back on the table. He hailed the decision in a post to his own social media platform, Truth Social.
Without presidential immunity, a president will not be able to properly function or make decisions in the best interest of the United States of America. Presidents will always be concerned and even paralyzed by the prospect of wrongful prosecution and retaliation after they leave office.
The Supreme Court will hear arguments on the decision of a Washington, D.C. appeals court that said they could not accept that the office of the presidency places its former occupants above the law for all time thereafter. But a former president facing criminal charges is uncharted territory.
This is the type of case that the Supreme Court does look at. It's a big constitutional question. It's a matter of first impression because we've never been here before. Does a president enjoy absolute immunity from criminal prosecution based on official acts?
Accused of pushing unfounded claims of an election stolen by Joe Biden, pressuring then VP Mike Pence to block the certification of the result, and inciting his supporters to storm the Capitol, Donald Trump's team argue that any such actions would fall within his presidential remit and as such should be protected. But whatever the Supreme Court decides, it's a victory for the former president, as his legal team seek to delay his various court cases to after the November 2024 presidential election.
U.S. President Joe Biden remains fit for duty with no new health worries, his doctor said on Wednesday after the 81-year-old last medical ahead of an election in which his age is a key issue.
The oldest president in U.S. history left Walter Reed National Military Medical Center triumphant after a 2.5-hour routine physical examination from which his doctor handed down a verdict of fit for duty. Cognitive tests are not usually included in such examinations, and the White House rebuked any suggestion that this would be necessary.
The president's doctor has said, if you look at what this president, the president who is also the commander-in-chief, he passes a cognitive test every day, as he moves from one topic to another topic, understanding the granular level of these topics.
This after polling showed that 76% of US voters have misgivings about the president's age in the run-up to the 2024 presidential race. A recent report exonerating Joe Biden over the possession of classified documents after leaving office in 2017 referred to him as an elderly man with a poor memory, also calling it hazy, fuzzy and faulty. His response was irate.
Mr. President? My memory is not good. My memory is fine. My memory, take a look at what I've done since I've become president.
Only to compound criticism by calling Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi the President of Mexico during the same press conference. This days after confusing Emmanuel Macron with long-dead President Mitterrand, who left office in 1995. But Biden's most likely opponent, Donald Trump, is 77, and he too has had his moments, as his opponent for the Republican nomination reminded voters.
It's bigger than just Joe Biden. You can look at the same thing, whether it was Donald Trump getting me confused with Nancy Pelosi, his temper tantrums, the things that he's done. It is time for a new generational leader.
But as Trump closes in on the Republican nomination, the next US president will almost certainly be one of the two over 75s.
Iranian voters go to the polls today to choose members of parliament. The elections are the first since the crackdown of mass protests in 2022.
On Friday, Iran holds its first parliamentary elections since mass protests, led by women and young adults, were crushed in a nationwide crackdown in 2022. More than 22,000 people were detained and 500 were killed. In the run-up to the vote, Iranian leaders urged the public to participate, as dissidents called for a boycott after the mass disqualification of candidates who were not members of conservative, pro-government parties. Statisticians predict a historically low turnout at the ballot. Analysts say many people will not vote because they view their choice not to participate as a way to challenge the government's legitimacy.
Critics of the system say that, look, what's the point of even engaging in this process that is not going to result in any meaningful changes or allow for much diversity of views. And because the system is so adamant on participation rates as a metric for its legitimacy, a boycott would basically take away that claim.
These elections will decide members of Iran's 290-seat parliament and its 88-seat Assembly of Experts, the governmental body expected to choose the country's next supreme leader, as current Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei approaches his 85th birthday.
The position of the Supreme Leader, it's in the name, ultimately has a profound influence over the country's domestic and foreign policy as the ultimate arbiter, as the ultimate finger on the scales of what decisions the President and the Parliament and the National Security Council takes.
Because reformist candidates have been virtually eliminated from the ballot, he says, Iran's next supreme leader is expected to maintain the government's conservative or hardline stance. But for many Iranians, the demands of protesters during the unrest in 2022 that was sparked by the death of Mahsa Amini in police custody remain unanswered. Besides issues of personal freedom and sustenance, Iran's economic crisis has led to widespread discontent.
In 2023, just 15% of Iranians said that it was a good time to find a job in their area, while 80% said it wasn't a good time to find a job. And a further 61% say, when asked how they're finding life on their present household income, 61% of Iranians say that they are currently finding it difficult or very difficult to get by on their present incomes.
He says that in recent years, Iran has seen roughly 40% inflation, and more young people say they wish to travel abroad for their futures. Other analysts say while the upcoming elections are not expected to usher in any immediate sweeping changes, it can be expected that protest movements will arise again.
The Kingdom of Eswatini is unranked in the latest Federation International Volleyball Association rankings that were released for the first time in 2024. Eswatini Volleyball Association Vice President Eric Gama says failing to take part in the Africa Volleyball Championship games that are highly recommended internationally in Cameroon September last year is what caused the country to find itself in this situation.
2024 World Volleyball Rankings released by the Federation of International Volleyball this week show that the Kingdom of Eswatini is unranked both under men and women category. Responding to the situation, Eswatini Volleyball Association Vice President Eric Gama says the unranked situation was mostly caused by the fact that the country failed to attend the 2023 Africa Volleyball Championship Games in September that were staged in Cameroon, as these games are highly recommended by the World Governing Board for the sport. Gama went on to say that in the near future, especially in 2024, they are looking to take part of different international competitions by working in hand with the Eswatini Sports and Recreation Council alongside Eswatini Olympic and Commonwealth Games Association in order to access funds for support. On the other hand, under the category of beach volleyball games, that was also seen as improving sport in the country. Beach volleyball was also unranked, even though last year they took part of beach championship games in Tunisia, which were the country's first games in over a decade. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Babane.
Thank you for staying with us. Let's take a break. Sabuya in MS Sports News.
Kude lesinye isikhathi ngaphandle kwalesi
aba research bafunze.
Being risky means ukuthi nalokuwa kwayo kulula.
Nathi kufuna sente ukukhicita lokusemndeni.
Vibes from Hoops. Studio One is back on your screens with brand new episodes. Brand new episodes. Catch your favorite local artists, live performances, your movers and shakers, the hustlers, doing the work. Entertainment news, local and international, nothing but fresh vibes every Saturday at 6 p.m. Let's go. What are you doing on a Saturday evening? We got nothing but the best. Vibes from Hoops.
It's 40 minutes after 7. Thank you for staying with Kusile Breakfast Shows. Ngenaku Sports segment, Fabrice Msonera joins us to discuss the Nzabata temidlalo esithatha ke kule mphela sonke kakhulu. Siqale nje lapha ekhaya Fabrice. We start the MTN Premier League today with the Lovo versus Rangers at 3:30 p.m. as well as other, interesting games. Lataba khona kule mphela sonke.
Yeah, what a weekend that is upon us. When you talk about the MTN Premier League, and I think there was so much expectation, so would see after the draw of the Ngunyama Cup on Monday or Tuesday, somewhere that the games were supposed to be played over the weekend, but proper preparations were made to say is extended up to on the 10th of March, which is in 9 days to go. So MTN Premier League games return. We're entering day 19 of the MTN Premier League, so we're left with only 7 games before conclude the season. And we talk about the games that now are remaining. It's just it's crazy because Friday, yes, Illovo against Rangers. Another game, there is Galanga Stadium. There is Royal Leopard, who could extend their lead if they manage to defeat Denver Sundowns. They would defeat them and sit and watch what will happen over the weekend, because the likes of Young Buffaloes, Green Mamba, and Babane Swallows, who are also in contention for the title, they were playing on Saturday and Sunday respectively. So if you have a team, maybe we can't dwell much on Rangers and Ilovo because Rangers, Ilovo seemingly they are quite safe, but the Rangers will have also to look at their points, to look at the table. I think the tricky part is Leopard against Denver Sundowns. If they can get 3 points, then you can understand they'll extend their lead to 36 points. Then you have got Young Buffaloes who play Saturday. So Leopard will just sit comfortably to watch what will happen. Green Mamba, they have got also another trick game. They're from getting a defeat against Monene Pirates. They have so much work to do. But I think for me, the game of the weekend is between the two giants of the country. Bafana Swallows are visiting Manzini Wanderers at the Mavuso Sports Center. It's a game that I think for Wanderers, they're fighting for relegation. They know that 3 points will take them closer to Rangers, who are 10th, depending on how they have played with Ilovo. But then you've got also Bafana Swallows. They know that they can't afford to stay behind from those 3 teams above them. So it's going to be it's going to be a beautiful weekend. What a weekend that we have to witness in the MTN Premier League.
How important is this win for Green Mamba versus Madlenya tomorrow? Because, Fabrice, we have to admit Green Mamba hasn't been playing good football. So many concerns. No one can really point out what the real problem is. We've had, people say maybe the players are tired. Some are saying maybe the coach has too much work. Some are saying, it's just a phase that's going to pass. But it has happened too many times. What do we want? What does Green Mamba want? Let me not say we. I'm not a Green Mamba fan. What does Green Mamba want to happen tomorrow? Obviously, they want a W, but how do they get that W against Madlenya?
At the end of the day, so the games that you're not expecting them to lose, these are the games they have lost. If you look at their fixture against Madlenya, Mhlume Stadium, history tells us, do they play well when they play Mhlume? Then you have to put a question mark. I'll give you an example of 3 teams that have defeated them, and you wonder what happened. The first team was Ilov. I think I remember it was 3-0.
Yeah.
Then they were followed by Manzini Wanderers. That heavy, fixture that played in the evening at Mavuso Sports Center, and recently against Monene Pirates. These are the games that you expect them to have won. But then, if you look at how they were defeated, then you start putting question marks. You see, is maybe their attention? Have they shifted their attention? Because probably they look at the Ngwenyama Cup to say, let's defend it, it's got more value. We're just from winning the league. I don't know. But the coach will tell you, we want them both. We want them both because
you have to
both teams,
both.
the teams, both titles, both trophies, they give you a CAF qualification. And then you have to ask yourself, what's really, the focus? Now, the national team, Sihlang Seminigati, shortly they are going to be in camp in preparations for their game against Somalia.
Right.
Their coach, Ernest Mavuso, has to join the camp as the assistant coach.
Has
the attention shifted. The players are maybe quite tired because majority of the players also from Green Mamba have been called for the national team duties. Then there's a lot of questions that we have, maybe there's lack of consistency. Yes, we've talked about that, but the players also, there's a little bit of lack of focus and a bit of also maybe to say they're carried away because, like I said, the team for me, that if nothing changes, the team that I can stand and say everyone should be worried, Young Buffaloes.
Young Buffaloes,
yeah. I know Leopard is on top of the log, but you should be worried about Young Buffaloes. You look at what Stoff is doing at that club. You look at the experience of Bossa Viola. I think it's a tricky one, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah, and indeed, you have said that Young Buffaloes looks like they might just win it all. I mean, 18 games into the season, Fabrice, and again, just to speak on why everyone's worried about Green Mamba. They lost their last 2 games. They lost to Monene Pirates at the bottom of the log, and they lost to Denver Sundowns, which is the second at the bottom of the log. And now they get to face a 7th-seeded Madlenya. They have to worry, and Madlenya certainly goes into that game, quite motivated by the fact that Green Mamba has been on a slump. But then again, I want us to speak about Nsingizini Hotspurs versus Monene Pirates. Nsingizini Hotspurs has been on a winning run, a winning spree. Despite being eliminated from Ngwenyama Cup, they look like they really want to make a statement in the league and perhaps being a force to be reckoned with. In the league, they're playing Monene Pirates. Monene Pirates doesn't want to be relegated.
They are busy. When you talk about Hotspurs, I think is it every month? Is it every weekend? They are launching branches in the country. They're a busy team, and I think the fan base, if we're not careful, I think in the next 5 years, we'll be talking about the big 5 in the country, because when we talk about the big teams in the country, there is Babane Highlanders, Babane Swallows, Mansini Wanderers. Then you can also include Moneni Pirates. Those are the big 4 teams we have. So as the time goes, we might say, let's not talk about only big 4. We can include also things in hospice. And look at where they're playing, on home soil. So they call this place home soil. It's against Moneni Pirates, a team that is motivated from defeating the defending champions. It's a tricky one. I know Spurs will say you are from defeating Buffaloes. We're also tough side, but who cares? But look at where they're seated. 28 points, number 6. They can tell you that they're in the race for the title. Mathematically, they can tell you they're in the race, because 5 points, certainly. 5 points, if anyone above
18
them...
18 games, 5 points.
Yeah, if anyone above them drops points, they can tell you that they're in the race for the title. So I think what Coach Alessio has done is to try to give confidence to this young boy, and then I think young boys, and then I think slowly, maybe this campaign, it will be a learning curve for them. But trust me, next season they'll compete. So coming to the game against Moneni Pirates, it shouldn't be a tricky one. But I see them walking away with 3 points. Pirates should be worried. I see them walking away with 3 points. I think the supporters have been very key in whatever they're doing there at the club, and then that 13 motivation play on the field, being the supporters, it stands to say they've got what it takes to go all the way and get the 3 points. But if you look at the log, look at number 11 to number 14, we talk about the difference, just a point. Anyone from number 11 to number 14 can go. Remember, this is what you can say. For you to be safe, at least, the only team I can say that is safe at this point in time, it's Ilov. Because between Ilov and Moneni Pirates, it's 12 points. So you can imagine someone to lose 4 games. 12 points, it's 4 games. Ilov is the only team that you can safely say that they're safe. But from mathematically, when you talk about mathematically, Seabirds up to Moneni Pirates, anything can change.
Anything
because 8 points, 8 points, we're talking about 3 games, you draw 2, you lose 1, then the person is catching up with you. So it's a fight, and I think for me, I've been in this industry for over 15 years, and I think this is one of the biggest league we've watched. Before we'd have Leopard Swallows walking away with the trophy. We have Buffaloes, Leopard walking away with the trophy. The difference would be 9 points between number 2 and number 4. But look how tight it is. And there's no difference. Look at even between number 1 and number 14. It's just 20 points.
And that's amazing.
That should
tell
you
the level of competition.
Yeah, the level of competition that we have. And then it gets to worry me when the coach is failing to say we can't get proper selection of the players. I mean, if you have a selection of teams like that, and I think we've got good top scorers. We've seen the likes of Boskali, Boshaga at Moneni Pirates, a loan from Royal Leopard. We've got Njaburo Mazia. These guys are just, banging goals every weekend.
Right.
So, yeah.
Fabrice, Eswatini United is playing Young Buffaloes, and you look at these log standings, and to your point, Young Buffaloes looking like a serious threat to Royal Leopard and Green Mamba, as well as Swallows if you want, in clinching the league. Young Buffaloes is going to have an easy weekend against Eswatini United. I mean, on paper, you want to say that, but you'll never know with football. But just, looking into the weekend that we're going into, Young Buffaloes just might secure 3 points there and come back ahead of Royal Leopard.
Yeah, if they're to be ahead of Royal Leopard, it will also depend to how Leopard will have played against Devasan
next week, today. Thursday, March 7, and that's too far. I'm just saying, for the better part of the start of the week from this weekend up to Thursday.
Yeah, but so not to catch you, you see the table. One thing that I've learned for the past 5 weeks, 5 weeks, you see the way the table is. You can memorize it or just get a screenshot. Between number 1 and number 4, the way they are standing now, when we come back here on Monday, it won't be like this. Certainly. Between number 11 and number 14, the way it is right now, it won't be like this. Yeah. So the change is every weekend there's a change. Last week we had Buffaloes as number 1. The previous week Leopard was on top of the log. Now they're back on top of the log. If they make a mistake against Denver Sundowns, those 3, number 2, number 3, number 4, they can just climb. Anything is possible at this point in time. So I can assure you that when you come back, we'll compare the 2 tables. Friday table and Monday table.
Completely different.
Yeah.
But I'll give you two things that I'm certain about. At the top of the table, it's going to be Young Buffaloes.
Yeah.
At the bottom of the table, it's still going to be Moneni Pirates because they will lose to Nsingizini Hotspurs. I can give you that.
Okay, this is what I think. I think at the top of the table,
Young
Leopard
Buffaloes.
remain there.
How?
But
Leopard is only playing on Thursday next week.
Yeah, but
by Monday, Young Buffaloes should be at the top.
Okay, wait. Okay, I get that. No, let's leave the number one. Let's look at number 3, number 4. There will be a change between number 3 and number 4.
Oh yes, certainly.
Yeah, I see Green Mamba really facing a tough challenge against Ilova, and Swallows against Wanderers, they might drift apart as well a bit in terms of what the game can possess against Manzini Wanderers. There will be a huge difference. But then you look at number 11, number 14, the number 13, if they're able to get a point, even a point against Nsingizini Hotspurs, they can move against Eswatini United. That is if Eswatini United loses against...
It's going to be
quite
quite impossible getting...
So Pirates have a chance to leave the bottom of the table for the very first time since the season started.
If they get a point against Nsingizini.
If they just get a draw, they are 14 points.
Which is highly unlikely.
Yeah, which is highly unlikely. But if they get a point against Nsingizini Hotspurs, they are 14. And then if Buffalo...
I feel like you like Moneni Pirates, but please, let's move on. We don't have enough time.
If Buffalo's defeat Eswatini United, the amount of goals would drop them into the relegation zone.
Match day 27 of 38 of the English Premier League. The biggest game, of course, is the Manchester derby between United and City. But there's other interesting games as well. Arsenal wants to secure a good win this weekend, as well as Liverpool against Nottingham Forest. But I want us to discuss the big game because, you know, in the interest of time, we don't have enough time. What are the odds that Manchester City, at least at the very least, because I very doubt that they might get a win against City, that they get a draw at least? What are the odds?
You know, on Tuesday, Wednesday, I took a drive, so I went and sat somewhere quiet and just meditate on some of the remaining fixtures of the local MTN Premier League and the English Premiership, and looking at the possibilities. These are some of the things we can say, even the DStv Premiership. And then I was looking at the history, looking at head-to-head, looking at the chances, the possibilities. Let's not forget that maybe it's a Manchester derby. Anything is possible. But City is home, United is away. You can for those who are betting, who want to earn their money, you can say both teams to score. That I can give you, both teams to score. Both teams will score. Manchester will score.
United to score
both
against
teams will score.
City.
It's because in such fixture, Swiso, akusebenza ukuthi wena unabo Haaland, unabo unabo Rashford. This is a very competitive game. City are likely to walk away with the 3 points. But the basis where the other teams that they are competing with City, Liverpool, they go to Nottingham Forest. It's a tricky one. Liverpool have been, using the so-called young boys, going to, City ground. Nottingham Forest, they have played City ground. City ground reminds me of Emirates Stadium, the former Arsenal Stadium, where when a player is passing in front of you, you're close by as supporters. The field is too close to the supporters, so the pressure is on you. So Liverpool going to City ground against Nottingham Forest, anything is possible there. So if there was a chance for Arsenal maybe to get a bit up in terms of the log position, it could be this weekend or next weekend when City play Liverpool. But for me, the game of the weekend that could change a lot of things, it's that game, Nottingham Forest and Liverpool.
Indeed.
Nottingham Forest at home, City ground, they are a very dangerous side. And I think last season, Arsenal, I think they lost the game away. City drew the game away. Chelsea drew the game away. They had a best competition in terms of the Big Six teams. So having a coach who also, like Esperato, who understands the mentality of the big teams, it's going to be a very noisy place. So my chance is that if Liverpool can drop points against Nottingham Forest at home, then you've got City also winning slightly in terms of 3 points. Then you've got City jumping to number 1, and you've got also Arsenal coming close to number 2. So anything is possible this weekend. But what I've liked with Arsenal is that they have managed to get the amount of goals. I think in terms of goal differences, they are ahead of City and Liverpool because they've got 39 goals. So in that game, City and Manchester United, City are likely to walk away with 3 points, but both teams to score. Why am I giving it to City? City, at this point in time, from February up to April, since Pep Guardiola came, there's never been a mistake. They hardly lose games.
I mean,
I know it's a different season. Yeah. I know it's a different season. Last season, out of 26 points, they collected 24 points. They only drew one game from February up to the end of the season.
I could say the same about Liverpool.
Yeah, but you have to also think that some of their key players are not present. So on paper, look at the goal difference I was talking about. Arsenal, they have 39, Liverpool 38, and Manchester City 33. So if anything is to go by for Manchester City and Liverpool drop points, they are up there. Then you have to look at also in terms of Arsenal also, if they can get a chance and get 3 points, then anything is also possible. But the fight for the top 4 also continues, because I still feel like Manchester United will struggle to make it into the top 4. Aston Villa and Spurs, one of them will have to make it to the top 4. And then you go to the bottom of the league. Look at Everton after that deduction of, remember previously it was 10 points, and then they reduced to 6 points. So they were handed over 4 points in terms of what they were having in deduction. So they were 21 points. So when they were given the 4 points, they moved up to 25 points. So they are quite safe. But in this league, you are never safe, because one weekend, anything can change, because between them and Luton, it's just 5 points. So if they draw or they lose a game, Luton win, then there's a different story. Look at Chelsea. They're not even in the bottom half of the table. They need to work hard. But teams that have really, really impressed me, it's Aston Villa. In as much as now they're drifting apart from the rest, you also have to talk about Wolves. They have tried their best, but West Ham, things are not going very well. And then there were talks that maybe David Moyes should be heading home, but I would give him a chance, considering the fact that he's still playing the Europa League. He's still into the last 16 of the Europa League, so he can give them anything they want. But what a season, what a league, with only 12 days to go.
It's quite interesting. I'm looking at Liverpool at the top of the log standings, and I want to, predict that when we come back on Monday, they'll still be up there. I heard your point with regards to
Nottingham
Forest, and the pressure that Liverpool's going to have, as well as the pressure that Nottingham Forest has in front of their home crowd. But Nottingham Forest this year alone, in 6 games, they've only won 1 game, and that was against West Ham. Now, if you look at how they won that game, you want to say, they were not supposed to win that game.
Yeah, against the big teams they can take.
Yeah.
Tell you what, before I cut you, there are teams that you should always have that mentality to say, these are tough. Nottingham Forest, these are Champions League winners. In the early 80s, Aston Villa is a Champions League team. They have won the Champions League when it was called Europa Super League. Nottingham Forest, they have won the Champions League. So it's cause for some, that's history. So if you think about the team...
And that's exactly what it is, history. It's in the past.
Yeah, it's in the past, but it applies, because it's one of the teams with a huge number of supporters.
Nottingham Forest champions. It doesn't even sound right when I say it. Thank you for joining us, Fabrice. We only have a few seconds before we have to close the show. But then again, we will watch these big games and we'll discuss all of them on Monday together. Thank you for being with us on Kusile Breakfast Show. Have a lovely and responsible weekend in Senegal.